Joining me now on this episode of Locally Sourced EP is the editor-in-chief of the El Paso Herald-Post, Chris Babcock. Mr. Babcock, thank you for gracing your presence on this podcast.
Mr. Babcock, you sound like one of my students from back in the day. I appreciate the invitation.
I just got to show the respect because I mean you're such a well-known name in El Paso. I mean, if someone doesn't know you, they're probably not from here. So, but thank you for joining us today, man.
No, thanks for the invitation. It's great. I mean, don't let my wife know about that because she's always talking about how, oh man, living with you is living with the Chris show. Everybody knows you, and you got to wave at everybody. I was like, I don't know about that. So, I do appreciate the one nickname that I've been given throughout this whole thing. Goes all the way back to Channel 7. It's like, we're going to call you the Viceroy of Fabens because you know everything about the Valley, especially Fabens. So I'll take that honorary. That one's pretty good.
I like that. It's the Viceroy of Fabens. I've never heard that. I haven't heard that one, but I like it. I like that one. I don't know why it stuck. Well, we're here to talk about you and the awesome thing that is the El Paso Herald-Post celebrating their 5th year anniversary on your relaunch. Talk a little about how that came about with you taking over control of that.
Well, one of the things early on, especially growing up in Fabens, we would get the newspapers. We'd get the Times in the morning, and we'd get the Herald-Post in the afternoon. And at school, they'd deliver, we'd get the Herald-Post from the previous day to write on and check stories. And it was always neat to look through it. And early on in my career, in the early 90s, I got a chance to be a stringer for them, reporting on high school football, of course, writing the stories about the Fabens. When they would do, we'd call it in, and it would be, the old-fashioned way. I'd talk to somebody, and they'd sit there and type it up. And if there were any other additions, I'd send an email. But when they killed the Herald-Post in '97, in October '97, I was really, really disappointed. I mean, we saw it coming. We saw how companies were consolidating, and especially, I think it was Gannett at the time that was just eliminating all of the afternoon papers. And we knew that once they took over, they had the Times, they got the Herald-Post, they were gonna just knock it out, and they did. And it always stuck with me. I thought it was always unfair because of what the Herald-Post had represented to the community. Because the Times would talk to you about what would happen in the entire world in El Paso, and they would talk to the newsmakers. And then the Herald-Post would come and talk to the people that were actually affected by whatever event. But not only that, the Herald-Post was weddings and quinceañeras, and hey, check out the high school football, and here's the minors. And they were very, very much the community paper. And taking that away, I think it was just unfair, bottom line. So, I always wonder, how could I sustain that? And of course, I ended up working at Channel 7 for almost 10 years. And I worked at almost another 3 years at Channel 9. And that whole time, I had one day I was looking for websites because I buy websites. I'm like an old school web designer. And I saw that the EP Herald-Post had come up. I was like, oh, that's weird. Why would the company let that go? Well, it turns out that they had just let all of it go. I thought, that's not cool. So I bought that domain name. I thought, well, I wonder how much El Paso Herald-Post is. Well, a company in Australia had jumped on it, and they ended up being squatters. And they wanted to sell it for $20,000. I was like, wow, that's not the legacy that you want for that paper. So I thought, maybe one day something I'll do with it. Maybe I'll do so at the same time that's happening, I'm working for Channel 7, working for Channel 9, and I'm noticing that because, again, of the corporatization of media, they were doing more and more formulaic news, weather, top story, hey, look at this wreck, hey, look at this, hey, look at who the police were arrested, look at these mugshots, weather, hey, look at this, and then there was about a minute 40 between the last news story and before weather started, where they would do a happy story, and people would like those stories. Like, occasionally it'll go into the first block, but there was a lot of stories that weren't being reported, and I thought, well, maybe that's where I go. So as it started to speed up more and more newscasts, more breaking news, more news that's really not breaking. Hey, there's a wreck on the freeway. That's not breaking news. There's a wreck on the freeway every day. There's an average of 40 accidents a day in El Paso. Which one do you cover? Well, you cover the one that's got the SUV on its roof. So long story short, once I kind of developed the idea, I thought, you know what? I think now's the time to bring it back and really honor the people that came before me and try to do something that would help bring back that sense of community. And that's, the last 3 or 4 months I was working with Channel 9, I wanted to do that. And and it was a sign, because as they were, I had sat in the news director's seat twice and I didn't get the job. So the last time I did, I said, if I don't get this time, I'm going to do something big. And sure enough, we ended up, I think it was about a month before I stepped down. I went in and I checked for El Paso Herald-Post, and that Australian company, they didn't own it anymore. So I said, okay, well, I'll buy it. Well, I applied a network solutions coupon, and I bought the domain for $20.
Oh, wow.
So I looked at it as a sign. It was like, now's the time. Take all your experience that you've done, your 15, 20 years of experience in media, your 25 years of experience in computers, and let's just throw it behind the Herald-Post. That's what we did. We wanted to relaunch it because I've always believed that the Herald-Post was social media before there was a term for it, because they would tell you, hey, this event is coming up 2 weeks. The week before, hey, don't forget, next week, this is coming up. The event would come up, whether it was a game or a parade or whatever it was. They would send a photographer out, they send a reporter out, they'd shoot it, and then they'd give you, and this is what you saw at the event. So it really closed the social circle, and all of my relatives would cut out articles from the Herald-Post on football, on parties, on quinceañeras, on dances. And if you think about it now, that's what people do. They share the links because those are the stories that they see, and that's what we've seen. And I'm blessed, and I'm grateful that these past 5 years that we've had people who have fallen behind us and really believed in what we're trying to do.
That's awesome. I mean, just the work you all have done that I've seen and actually been able to contribute to El Paso Herald-Post is awesome. I mean, I think you accomplished what you wanted to do with it. I mean, the things you guys put out, the things you cover, the photographers and story writers you guys have and reporters you have. I mean, you all do an amazing job there.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, I am nothing without my team. And, like I said, it stands with photographers because that's where we are. We're a very visual media. And you couple that with not necessarily a quick, but, you get the news out. I get releases, all day long. I put those up within 5-10 minutes of getting them, and then they show up on the news and later on in the day. So, with the way that the internet and the way that the social media works, you want to see that immediacy. So people have gravitated toward us because they know that if something happens, they can see it pretty quickly on the Herald-Post, and it's not necessarily going to be breaking news. I can tell you that in the past 5 years, Ray, that I've used the term breaking news maybe 10 times, but it's really breaking news, unfortunately, with a shooting. Even with weather, I don't like using that breaking news type of terminology, because if everything's breaking news, then nothing is breaking news. And I think that's why people have come to us, because they know if something's breaking news on our page, it is breaking news. It's unfortunately the shooting. It is a region-wide blackout because of the freeze. Things like that will get your attention. But they know that I'm not going to jam up their feeds with the rollover of the day or the weekend drunk stabbing that happens every week that seems to lead for 48 hours. They're not going to see that. You can go over and see other websites. I'm completely cool with that. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to see it on ours, because breaking news should be something that is out of the ordinary or unexpected. And really, let's face it, here in El Paso, people are going to get drunk. People are going to get stabby. People are going to wreck. How is that breaking news at all?
I mean, I agree. I think that term breaking news is overused by all the news media. I mean, you got the big wigs, the top news networks. I think they overuse it. I mean, every story that breaking news still comes in, or After Effects comes in, it's like, really, that's not breaking news. I'm totally with you on that. I think they overuse it, and it's just it kind of sucks, because I know what you're talking about with the wrecks and the accidents and stabbings, because I was with Channel 4 and Channel 9 for a while, and it's the same thing. I mean, they go and send you out to cover these rollovers or car accidents and stabbings, and it's like, oh, it's news. I mean, it could be added to, but I mean, it's like I think so much more can be done, and I just love the way El Paso Herald-Post kind of localizes and just like you said, brings back that social media feeling when it is still there, and it's just something you guys put out the relevant stuff more. I mean,
it is relevant. Like, to me, when we would do the band competitions, for a long time, band was just ignored. I mean, it's not till recently that you had a couple of movies made and people kind of started getting the idea. But we really went all in, because not only did we have our kids in band, but being band parents, you've got 150, 160 kids. You've got 20 band boosters. You've got this whole community. And again, right after the news, right before weather, you had, hey, there was a band competition today. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, coming up next, don't forget the weather. It's like,
Yeah.
that's it. That was an 8-hour show, and you just gave it 30 seconds. But you gave, the rollover 2.5 minutes. So I don't mind that our main story won't align with everybody else's. It doesn't make a difference to me, because I know that if I'm highlighting those 2 kids from Socorro that got scholarships, that's our top story. That's a big deal. That's a big deal to them and their family and to the district, and that's going to mean something going forward. And I think that's what we try to drive home.
Awesome. And then, if you don't mind me asking, do you have any future plans with the Paso Herald-Post? I mean, do you have anything in the makings or anything you can share with us? I don't want you to spoil anything before it's ready or anything, but I'm just wondering, what are you guys' plans?
Well, let me look around, because my wife always says I give away too much information when I do talks or when I'm talking to groups, and I overshare, because I know the situations that the other companies, they're not going to do it. They're not local anymore. They're local to a certain extent. So I give away the game plan each and every day, and I know that nobody's going to be able to equal it. So as far as we would wanted to do something for our 5th anniversary, which was on the 24th. We kind of missed that target, but it's a good miss, because we're refining the new look of the Herald-Post. It's going to be, it's not necessarily going to be like the last generation Corvette to the next generation Corvette. You're not going to see that kind of a shakeup, but you are going to see an evolution of the site, a lot more friendly, a lot more user friendly. Again, never ever going to see a pop up on our website. You're never going to see a pop over. You're never going to see a paywall. You're never going to see any of that, because it's annoying. If it's annoying to me, I know it's annoying to you, and it's annoying to everybody. So we're going to depend on our sponsors to pull us through, which they have. I mean, I got to give them credit. Even during the pandemic, they've done a good job. But the big thing we're doing is we're refining the site, making it a lot more portable, a lot more web friendly. A lot of people say, "Are you going to have an app?" It's like, well, an app is like a cheat. The reason you have an app is because your website doesn't work on mobile. Our website has always worked on mobile, and now we're refining that process. But more to the point, and this is the feedback I have from my crew. They're saying, God, we're taking such great pictures and great video, but when we go to the mobile, it kind of doesn't load, doesn't do this. It's like, all right, let me take that into consideration. Let's see what we can do. And we're fixing those little bugs that kind of hang up our users and our contributors, and making it smoother. So you're going to see an evolution of the design of the Herald-Post. Again, it's fully mobile, any web-enabled device, and it's going to be efficient. It's going to be up quick. And again, one of the advertising things that we always talk about is like, what's our slogan? What's this? I said, well, we're just a website. But when you look at what we put out and what we cover, I say sometimes, the El Paso Herald-Post, stay ahead of the times. So we're still going to have that quickness. We're going to have that coverage. With the locomotive, we're going to have those great galleries. But it's going to be in the palm of your hand, on your smart TV, wherever you need it. It's going to be there. And we're working on a couple of other things having to do with Instagram and Instagram Live. This is, again, you mentioned it. It's a very different year. So we're going to try and do a couple things different with our high school football coverage. Mondo Benita's done a great job. He's partners with us. We've partnered with iHeart. They're helping us out. So kind of melding that all together to increase our footprint and just bring the news quicker and bring those subjects quicker to the public. That's what we're working on. But you'll see it here in a couple of weeks. The results of our last 30 days or so. But that's the big vague story. The one after that, there's a couple more surprises, but when they drop, you'll see the difference.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see them, and I can't wait to continue working with you, sir. Of course, always, if you need anything, you know where to find us. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Rad, about the Post 5-year anniversary, the awesome work you guys do, especially with your staff? Anything else you want to say, Rad, about today? I
gotta give credit to my staff. I've coached, I've been the general manager of a Speedway. I've run the news desk at Channel 9 and Channel 7, and it always comes down to the people that you put in position. It's the same thing with baseball. You know how baseball is. You can have a great team, but you got a couple of sucky pitchers, you're never going to be doing anything. I'm blessed with a good team, and that starts here with my family, and then it moves out to the staff that we have, and it really goes out to our friends that we have, because they're so willing to to help us out, to share the stories, to volunteer stuff, to kind of point us in the right direction. You know, I got to be honest with you. 5 years ago when this started, when it finally launched, I mean, I got a lot of criticism for doing this. They're like, Babcock's just going to use it for his own good. He's using this as his own platform. And I was like, that's not why I did this. I said, and I, you know, some of the old Herald-Post employees, I got a couple of emails. I said, you know, thank you for thanks for your opinion, but here's why I'm doing it.
Right.
And, you know, it's going to take a while to get to where you guys were, but I wanted the Herald-Post to be back in the mix. I wanted it to be discussed. I wanted people to go, oh man, I got to go back and look up that story in the Herald-Post. You know, even though we don't have those archives, I point people to where to go get them because I've read them all. And that kind of maintains that connection to the past. And I just want to take that and bridge it into the 21st century. And like I said, you, Ace, all of our friends, and anybody that's watching this, you know, even if they don't, you know, they own a business or whatever, you don't buy ads for us, that's fine. Just like us, you know, share our stories once in a while. That's all I ask. And they've done it. And it's really, I'm blessed to have them have done that for me and just to bring us to where we are today. And like I say to a lot of people when I give the talks at schools and to businesses, I said, you know, there's one person that we had this discussion with, and I'll close it with this one. I said, hey, you know, we just had this milestone. We had 1.5 million visitors last month. And the person said, well, imagine you would have had more if you had mugshots. I said, I didn't need them. and that's the key. I didn't need them. I didn't need those things that kind of the voyeuristic side of it. And that to me kind of completed our mission. So now 5 years in, 24 million views, I'm happy. I know where we're going. And as long as everybody just keeps supporting me and keeps, you know, sharing the stories and contributing, I'm a happy guy.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys do an excellent job over there. Continue to bust your butts over there. I mean, you guys are doing awesome. If you need to, if anyone watching, I'll include all the Paso Hearld-Post information in the bottom in the description below. You follow them all on their social media websites. Also, you can find them on the web at their webpage of pasoheraldpost.com and check them out. And they're well worth the read and checking out because I mean, they are what Chris says. They're local and they're an awesome page, and I love going to it.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the time here with your audience. And again, if anybody has any tips or good news they want to send in, news@epheraldpost.com. Send it in. Send the pictures. We'll get that stuff out for y'all.
Sounds good. I'll include that too in the bottom.
Cool.
Chris, thanks for joining me today on Locally Sourced EP, man. You have a good one.
You too, man. Go Diablos.
Go Diablos.